How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and today we are doing Disc 2 of the Black Lion Records Afterlife in Darkness compilation. And what I'm talking about is this. So, hopefully you already saw the first part, or Disc 1. Hopefully you enjoyed that little review of this compilation here. There we go. There's a thumbnail right there. Hopefully you guys stick around and watch this one. I have got 14 new artists to kind of run through and give my opinions on. And once again, Black Lion Records has a very specific sound they go for and sort of don't quite deviate from it. It's normally either atmospheric black metal, melodic death metal, blackened death metal, or a combination of either one of those. The odd time they'll stray and do just plain death metal or post black metal or maybe black and thrash or something like that, but for the most part it is just melodic death metal, symphonic black metal, black and death metal, etc. So yeah, if you are into any of those types of genres, check it out. But yeah, so let's check out Disc 2. Disc 2 featured quite a few interesting bands, some that I favored, some that I didn't favor so much. It was a very mixed bag indeed. So starting off with track 1, I was pleasantly surprised with Nightcrowned that submitted the track No Room for Hope. They are from Sweden. Unless otherwise noted, they're more than likely from Sweden. So anyways, Nightcrowned is a melodic black and death band that started up in 2016, and they so far only have one EP to my knowledge. The thing I noticed about this was the vocals were pretty good, and it did kind of have that epic or big feel to it, and it had a mixed section of hard stuff and then a calm middle section. So it had a nice kind of flow to it. Starts off heavy, gets a little slow and somber, and then gets heavy again. Mostly really good. So yeah, starts off the compilation, or second disc of the compilation, with a good note. Second in line though is track 2, and that is Legacy of Emptiness with the track Into the Pits of Nothingness. Now, these guys are from Norway, and they started roughly 1999. They had, I believe, a couple of other names for this band, or maybe slightly different versions of this band with maybe one member or two differently, but I'm not quite sure what the deal is with this. But Legacy of Emptiness, for argument's sake, let's say started roughly in 1999. They have 2 albums and are kind of symphonic black metal, and honestly, if you like early Dimmu Borgir, this will probably be right up your alley, though I feel it was a little bit lackluster, had a fairly boring middle section of this track, and I feel they probably could have chosen a better song to represent them for this compilation. So it's up to you whether you're into symphonic black metal or not. If you are, you'll probably enjoy this. Once again, kind of reminded me of early Dimmu, but wasn't quite my thing. Alright, let's talk about track 3. Track 3 was Wormlight with their track Reptilian King. Once again, from Sweden, black metal with 2 EPs and 1 album. If you want to hear a more in-depth review from me, I have a review of their full-length album on here. Definitely go check that out if you want to hear more about my thoughts on it. But from the Reptilian King track, it definitely has that melodic death metal feel at times. Kind of think Monomarth mixed with Deathclaw here and there. It being Wormlight, the vocals were really good, the riffs were really good. So decent band, decent track. Not much to say other than definitely worth your time. So moving on to track 4. Track 4 is a band called Northwind Wolves with the track Lord of Winter and Death. Now, these guys are a symphonic black and death band from the US that started in 2012. They currently have 1 demo and 2 albums. However, that second album isn't quite out yet. It'll be out December 13th of this year, so keep your eyes open for that if you enjoy this band. minus the symphonic elements of this song, Lord of Winter and Death, is actually pretty good. The troll-like vocals was very unique. I enjoyed that different take of symphonic black metal, and that the vocalist tried to do something that isn't just run-of-the-mill kind of airy, raspy black metal, death metal vocals combination. It was enjoyable, and I appreciated that. And then the drums were very blasting and hard hitting, had a very specific sound, and came through fairly clearly. So not bad. Once again, if it wasn't for the symphonic elements of this track, and I would probably like it a lot more. So I might go see if I can track down some more Northwind Wolves songs, as it wasn't too bad considering symphonic black metal isn't usually my thing. So yeah, check out them if that's interesting to you, and keep an eye out for their second album in December, halfway through, on the 13th. That's my thoughts on that. Let's check out track number 5. Track number 5 is from a band called Of Lustra, and the track is Tempesta. It's probably Greek or ancient Latin or something. Anyways, they're from the USA as well. However, they only went from about 2017 and ended earlier this year in 2019. Not exactly sure of why they split up or why the band ended, but they were a Black and Death band and only released one album. Now, the thing about this track was it had quite a long intro, probably a minute or more, of like this slow, calm, uninteresting build-up. And when you submit a track to a compilation or something that's supposed to catch someone's interest right away, you only have so much time to do so. And if you have a long kind of building up thing before like the meat of your track hits, you're probably not going to gain too much attention. But that being said, the vocals in this were really good. Had a cool dichotomy of lows and highs. It had kind of like these deathcore highs mixed with these Belphegor-ish lows. So yeah, it had this Belphegor / Behemoth sound versus Chelsea Grin sounding thing. Obviously no breakdowns because this isn't a core band, but that's basically what it sounded like if you took the death metal elements from Chelsea Grin mixed with the Black and Death elements of Belphegor and Behemoth and jammed them together in a very cool, cohesive combination. That's kind of what I got from this track from Of Lustra, Tempestus. So yeah, there's also a little bit of symphonic elements here and there that it wasn't expected. Wasn't a hindrance at all. It's just something I noticed that was in there. But yeah, it was really interesting and seemed like it had potential, so I'll probably go check out the one album that Of Lustra had, and I think you probably should too if you like something that's a little bit different. So yeah, that's Of Lustra with Tempestus from USA, some cool Black and Death metal. Alright, track 6, Mist of Misery. They submitted the song Dagon. Once again, these guys are from Sweden. They are a symphonic black metal band, so more than likely I'm probably not going to like it, right? So they started in 2010. They have quite a catalog though. They've got 4 EPs and 3 full lengths. So what did I think about this track? Well, first of all, there is too much reverb on those vocals. Like, he says a line and it just kind of echoes on forever. It's a shame that the vocalist in this couldn't have just had a more straightforward, obvious vocal mixing and a little bit more confidence to have it more forefront in the track. It seemed like he was trying to mix himself out of it a bit and maybe hide in the background. I don't know if that was the intent, but that's what it felt like. The symphonic elements were kind of bland, didn't really do anything for me. They definitely didn't need to be in the forefront. Nothing really stood out on this track, and I would say it would be easily forgettable in a mix. You'd be like, what was that part? I don't know. There's a lot better things on this compilation than the track. Now, once again, I feel that this might be another misrepresentation of the band on this track, or on this compilation, because I'm pretty sure Mist of Misery has put out way better songs than Dagon, and I feel like maybe they just had a misfire with this track. So go check them out and make sure for yourself, because I'm pretty sure Mr. Misery have done way better things than this track in their discography. Track number 7. This one was interesting. Track number 7 was from a band called I Am the Trireme, now known as IAT or IATT, because they started out apparently as a metalcore band with their first demo or EP or something, and then became a blackened melodic death metal band. They're from the USA. The track they submitted was Osteogenesis Imperfecta. This thing is a weird track. It's got some avant-garde metal in it. It's got some odd proggy elements, and it's like some of it was chaotic. It seemed like they didn't know what they were trying to do half the time or what it wanted to be, and I didn't really like the kind of angsty, shouty vocals that they were putting in there besides the blackened death vocals. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag, and not in a good way. I once again felt chaotic. It felt like it was not knowing where it wanted to go, whether it wanted to be prog, whether it wanted to be symphonic, whether it wanted to be melodic, but it wanted to be death. It felt like it was all over the place and wasn't quite my deal. However, once again, it could be just a matter of submitting the wrong track to represent your band. So IAT or IATT or I Am the Trireme, not my thing. Track number 8, unfortunately, was another one of those bands that seemed like it wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be, but it wasn't chaotic or all over the place. Now, who I'm talking about is Wells Valley with the track Paragon. They are a blackened avant-garde metal with some doom elements from Portugal. Currently, they have 1 EP and 2 full lengths, and started in 2011. Now, the first thing you kind of notice about this is that it's dark and builds so much tension. There's not really much release throughout the whole track. In my opinion, a good track or good song in general has build up and release and build up and release, and has some sort of a storyline musically. And this just felt like it just kind of kept climbing the mountain and kept building up and building up with not much of a release. So yeah, it was very anxiety inducing, and there's a lot of dissonant riffs going on. It kind of seemed like a more intense Grav Kavad, but I think I would still prefer Grav Kavad a lot more over this band, even though the intensity is kind of there. That whole kind of wall of sound, dissonant, dark thing going on. It'd be all right if it was in the background and you weren't like directly paying attention, I think, at least for someone of my taste, but I definitely wouldn't go out and listen to this on purpose. If it was in a mix, I'd probably skip it. So, once again, Wells Valley, Paragon, not my thing, but check it out if this sounded interesting to you, or the description of that sounded interesting to you. Let's move on to track 9. You've probably heard me mention Paytas on this channel before, and for a good reason. They're really good. And the track that they submitted on this compilation was Rites of Fire and Blood. Paytas is a black metal band from Brazil. Lots of pretty unique and interesting black metal comes from Brazil, and this is no different. They started in 1999, by the way. They have 1 demo and 3 albums, so a little bit of a discography to go through if you enjoy this track. They are an excellent mix of venomosity and hooks. I definitely enjoyed the drums. They were on point for sure. There's like those blistering black metal riffs, very intense, but then it has these kind of groovy, kind of cool guitar parts. Especially in this track, it had a cool groovy midsection, and the vocals were fantastic. Black metal vocals, really good stuff. So I enjoyed Paytas, obviously. I enjoyed their contribution to this compilation. Really good band. All right, track 10. This was fantastic. This was a fantastic little like spice of something different thrown in here. I hope Blackline Records decides to pick up more artists like this to kind of cleanse the palette of all that melodic death metal and symphonic black metal that they're used to adding to their roster. Now, who I'm talking about is Sinestro, or Sinestro. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. They are from Sweden, and they contributed a song called Arctic Blood. Now, this is a black thrash and punk band that started in 2012. They have 2 EPs and only 1 album at the moment. And what can I say? They had some great guitar riffs. They had nice energy. It was very like bouncy, and you could really get into it. A good mix of different vocal styles too. There's a little bit of thrashy punk vocals. There's a little bit of black metal vocals going on there, and a couple other slightly different switch ups. So wow, and the track's over before you even know it. So you're just kind of left wondering, what the hell did I just listen to? I want to hear some more. And like I said, it's a nice splash of flavor amongst all the rest of these other, melodic death metal and blackened death metal and whatever bands on here. Not that those genres aren't good, it's just, it's nice to have variety in a label's lineup, especially in a compilation this lengthy of 14 different artists. So really interested in seeing what else Sinestro has. Arctic Blood was a great track, and I will probably be looking into more of them. Good job, Sinestro. Also, apologies if I'm pronouncing your band name wrong. Maybe it's Sinestro, because there's an I before the E. Fuck me, I don't know. Alright, track 11, Soul Mission, or Solimission. I don't know why there's an E between the L and the M, but there is. They were surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting to be as impressed as I was with this band. I thought it was just, they're listed as a black and death band, but it sounded more than that. There's a lot more going on than just black and death metal. They're from the Netherlands, started in 2014, and have unfortunately just 1 album. I would like to hear more from them in the future for sure. The thing that definitely stood out in this, though, compared to all the other tracks, was that wooden shelf sounding snare. It's got like the pock noise instead of like that crisp, snappy pat. It probably sounds really weird to you enunciating it the way I am. Yeah, as soon as you hear the start of this track, you can instantly hear the different switch and sound when it comes to the snare and production. And honestly, it's nice. It's a nice little unique, something different added to the mix and variety of this compilation, and it definitely stands out amongst the other artists. So bonus points there. That immediately got my attention and perked my ears up. The vocals were decent, had a unique sound overall. We already covered that. And once again, nice variety, and I was not expecting that from this band with Where Fallen Angels Dare. So yeah, check out Soul Mission from Netherlands. Might surprise you how much you enjoy them. Alright, track 12. This is Soul Disillusion, and I believe that this is probably just another misrepresentative track, because I didn't quite enjoy this either. This is the track Stardust. They are a atmospheric post-black metal band from Belgium. That genre name already puts me in a kind of like mood. I'm already kind of prepared with that genre title to be kind of disappointed. So it didn't quite help it. I'm not a fan of atmospheric. I'm not a fan of post-black metal at all. I mean, Death Heaven, Liturgy, Ghost Bath, it's just no good to my ears. So whenever I think of post-black metal, it gives me a little bit of a twitching eye already. So anyways, they have 1 EP and 2 full lengths if you're interested. I will say though, they do have that wall of sound and atmosphere thing going for them. The drummer is talented. He's got double kicks for days, so good on him. And for it being an atmospheric post-black metal band, it wasn't always kind of super fluffy and upbeat and like trebly. There was some sections where it actually had some meat and some punch and some teeth, but there as you got into the track, there was those high-pitched, like sparkly sounding trebly riffs that I'm just like, oh my god, it was nausea inducing. And that's where the post-black metal part comes in. I'm just like, nope, peace. I'm ahead of it. So yeah, not my thing. But once again, I feel like probably not the best Soul Disillusion track. So if you're into atmospheric black metal, if you're into like happy, glittery post black metal, check it out. You'll probably enjoy that if you like that kind of stuff. All right, moving on to number 13 with the track As the Moon Bleeds by Murdrick. Murdrick are a great band. I've received stuff from Oliver in the past by Murdrick. Great Swedish black metal that started in 1999. They have a demo, an EP, and 2 full lengths. Lots of good stuff to check out from them. There is atmospheric elements in here, yes, but there's also, like, about a minute or so in, there's like this unexpected bass solo part that stands out that kind of is a breath of fresh air. You don't hear bass in black metal ever, and if you do, it's in a blue moon, or apparently a bleeding moon in this case. It was cool, and it kind of went into the next riff and was still fairly present, and then after that it dropped off and went to a normal volume again. Cool to hear that. There is a nice dichotomy of riffs doing like venomous hooky stuff and atmospheric black metal stuff, and there's like the solo near the end, near the third quarter, and it was neat. A good guitar solo that was thrown in the mix, and once again switches things up again, so it's not just the same old So nothing disappointing here with the Murdrike track, As the Moon Bleeds. Great black metal. The last track on here, unfortunately, kind of doesn't do anything to put you on a high note. It doesn't end with a bang. It just kind of fizzles and fades off into obscurity. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this, so bear with me. Hinayana with The Window. They are a melodic death doom band from the US, and they started in 2014. They have 1 demo and 1 full length. Let's talk about the track a bit and why it kind of lackluster. The death growls in it are a little quiet and almost just buried under the guitars and the wall of sound that's going on here, blended in. The lead guitar noodly parts kind of did the same thing. I would like to hear those noodly kind of arrangements, and they're all over the place. Not all over the place in a bad way. They're just, it seemed like there's something going on in the background there with the higher parts of the guitar, and it seemed like the person put in some effort into arranging it, so why not bring that full to the forefront? Why not lean in on that little bit of eccentricity you got going on with your band and showcase that a bit? There was like a higher in the mix volume, like solo-y guitar part, not like crazy solo, but there was a noticeable like trebly riff that popped up here and there for a brief moment, but like the main background like crazy noodly part was very hard to pick out, and I would have liked to hear a little more of it. So maybe up that the next time you guys record, and have your vocalist either bumped up in the mix or get a little bit more bitey in his growls, because that whispery growly like death metal thing wasn't quite working with this track. The drummer's talented though, as usual. The drummer is normally the most talented one in your band, so, and I don't mean just Hinayana, I mean most bands, the drummer is usually the most talented one, so no surprise there that I'm saying that the drummer in this band was talented. Unfortunately, nothing really stuck out with this track, and kind of just chugged along until the end and had the same pace, and not really too much crazy stuff happened in between. So yeah, like I said, the end of this compilation just kind of like chugs along and fizzles out without much of a big hurrah or to do. But there's a lot more surprises in here than I was expecting, and definitely have a few bands to check out myself, so I know you guys definitely have some bands to check out. Some highlights on here, I guess the highlight reel would definitely be Sinestro with Arctic Blood, Soul Mission with Where Fallen Angels Dare, obviously Paytas, obviously Murdrike. They were really good. I really enjoyed Night Crowned, considering the melodic, death metal and black metal mix. Northwind Wolves weren't too bad. I'll probably check a little bit more of them out. And of Lustra, definitely check them out. They're very unique, but unfortunately split up. Once again, hopefully they resolve that, or maybe get a new member to replace whoever decided to quit, or whatever happened there, because that was definitely worth checking out. Let's say that most of this was actually really good. I'm going to give disc 2 an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely the better disc in my opinion. Not by much, because the first disc had some pretty decent stuff in it, but the things that stuck out in this one really stuck out and were really good. So yeah, all in all, a solid 8.5 in general for the compilation, because I think I said the last disc was about a 7.5 or an 8, and this one's definitely an 8.5. So a general 8 or an 8.5 for this compilation. Lots of good bands to check out, and a few surprises in there that really piqued my interest. So overall, good compilation, highly worth picking up if you're into that style and are looking for a few new bands to check out in those genres. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review of the Black Lion Afterlife and Darkness compilation. For Glory, for the Rebel Alliance, Slammerella out.